Entrepeneurs is brought to you by Telkom.
If you Google the name Carrol Boys, you'll be amazed to see links to at least 10 pages on the internet. Carrol Boys' functional art has become so popular both locally and abroad that everybody with a website thinks it wise to offer to tap into her range. Carrol actually runs two main companies, Carrol Boys' Functional Art and Carrol Boys 188. The former refers to her ranges in pewter and aluminium, and 188 refers to her ranges in dishwasher-friendly stainless steel. Who would have thought that at the start of her adult life, Carrol was a teacher?
I'm glad that I taught. You know, teaching is quite a tough profession. It's stressful in its own right. It's a different type of stress, but one mustn't underestimate how tough a teacher's life is. And quite honestly, I think I prefer the stress I have in the business world to the stress that I had as a teacher.
Carrol left teaching because she yearned to be an artist. She started out making candlestick holders in copper, which proved popular. She then moved on to the long-forgotten material pewter, then aluminium, and finally stainless steel. Leaving teaching was scary, and even though she had training in sculpture at varsity, she had to hone her skills and find out more.
I think that through reading, it's very important to have the right books, to speak to the right people, but it also is very important to trial and error, because you're developing, you're obviously not developing a new metal or a new way of doing things, but it's a new way of doing things for what you want to do.
And what Carrol wanted to do was enjoy making art. She also found satisfaction in the enjoyment people found in what she made. And that's what spurred her on to making functional art, and why she thinks it's so popular.
This is something that you can use all the time, and that gives one joy. If you can use a piece of art, something of beauty all the time, every time you pick it up, every time you look at it, every time you cut a slice of bread, you're using something of beauty. And I think that is appealing to people.
But Carrol's designs are not ordinary. Perhaps the most important aspect of her success is what inspires her designs and how they are presented.
I think the human figure is my greatest inspiration. It's just amazing. It's the way my mind works. You know, I see the human figure in everything. I can look at a hammer and I can see a head, with curly hair. I can look at a lamppost and see a figure in it. So that's just the way my head works.
This very simply explains why Carrol Boys' functional art has done so phenomenally well. Most weddings have at least one Carrol Boys item as a gift. But when Carrol began her journey into her business, she had no idea just how fast she would grow. Orders were flying in, and it was a real challenge to make sure the company grew in the right way.
And to know, do you monitor that growth and do it sensibly and in a controlled way, or do you just throw all your energies at that and grow in a wild way? And to know what was conservative and what was outrageous, to get the balance there was quite a challenge for me. To know whether I was holding back the company or I was going too fast.
Carrol also found that as she was selling more and more of her functional art, she didn't have time to stop and think about what she was actually achieving. This sometimes became a nightmare.
You wake up with a huge fright and you realize that you're responsible for all these people, all these lives, all these families rely on the success of your business. And you know, as I say, you wake up with this pounding heart and you think, oh my goodness, what have I done?
Apart from running her own company, Carrol has also taken under her wing a group of women with a small company called Monkey Biz. The women make their living out of beading artworks, such as these dolls and animals. To help promote Monkey Biz, the beadwork is displayed along with Carrol's designs. And this seems to be working, as items are selling locally and export orders from the States have come in. This is part of Carrol's commitment to the community, but like the rest of her own business, wasn't part of a master plan.
I can't ever say that I had a business plan now. I mean, you know, if you say to me, did you have a wonderful vision of what you were going to do and a strategy? I can't tell you that. I think I just followed my instinct, and there are new challenges all the time. You develop to a certain point and you're either successful or you make bad decisions, and hopefully you have more successes than you have failures.
There's no doubt Carol's had more success than failure. But without a master plan, there's still a blind side to her progress. For instance, as a manufacturer, designer and wholesaler, going into retail was not in the cards at all a few years ago. How things have changed.
I'm busy developing retail stores, and that is my focus. If you'd asked me 3 years ago, would I go into the retail market, I would have thought that never in a million years would I want to even attempt that.
Going into retail means a whole new area opens up in the business, but retail also means there are new challenges, which include
Branding. Where am I taking this company? How big do we want to grow? Is it something that I want to keep in control of, or am I happy to hand over control to other people? And that has been a personal challenge for me.
But Carrol has surrounded herself with a team of women who help her run her company and tackle the retail side now too.
She has to delegate much more now that the business has grown so, and I think she finds it a bit tough sometimes. She's very much hands-on. She's in touch with every aspect of the business. She's at work pretty much every day, unless she's away on a business trip. But she knows even down to whether there's a lump on the sugar ladle that needs to be repaired. So she really is hands-on in all aspects of the business.
I've seen phenomenal growth since I started here 2.5 years ago. I've seen the company grow hugely and take on more staff, needing to take on more staff. Carrol, even though the business has grown, she has her finger on the pulse of expenses. She keeps control very well.
Although Carrol didn't start out with a business plan, she does know one thing for sure. She's decided to let the business take itself as far as possible, and she will gladly hand her legacy over to those who are involved. In the pipeline is opening up stores in London and New York. But in between, Carrol will still find time to make the greatest contribution to her company, sculpture. And to be good means time to play.
Because I'm a sculptor by profession and first love, sometimes I need to do something just because I feel like being indulgent, and I don't really think it's going to sell at all just because I feel like doing that. And this one happened one morning after I'd been to see a movie. I don't even remember what the movie was called, but it was about a woman with large fingers, and she captured my imagination. And so I made the sculpture, and I really didn't think it was going to be successful. And it's a key holder. You hang your keys on her fingers. But somehow people have embraced it as well, and it's also become a popular seller.
The Entrepeneurs